Hello and welcome back to Joe's Math Tools. In our session today, we will be converting a decimal number in the hundredths place into an improper fraction. Okay, so our first decimal number that we're going to be changing is going to be 5 3/100ths. Remembering that our 5 is our whole number, our 3 will be our numerator, and we're using the 100 since 3 is in the hundredths position. And now to change it to an improper fraction, remember that our steps are we're going to take our denominator, which is 100, multiply it to our whole number, and then add it to our numerator of 3. And all of this will stay over the same denominator of 100. So we know that 100 times 5 will give us 500. And when 500 is added to 3, this will equal to 503 all over 100. Okay, so this will be our first decimal number 5 3/100ths as a improper fraction. And remember that I'm going to do it for this step. You can always check your answer to see if it's correct by converting it back into a mixed number, and you do that by simply dividing your 100 into the 503. And remember that the answer we will get from this division should match our mixed fraction. So once these two answers match each other, that will tell you that the answer that you got is correct. So 100 will go into 503 5 times. 5 times 100 is 500, and 503 minus 500 will leave us with 3. And remember that the 5 at the top is your whole number, so that would be our 5. My 3 is my numerator, so your remainder is always in numerator, and our 100 will remain as our denominator. So you can see that after our division, that the answer that we got from our division matches the fraction that we started with. So that will tell you that your answer would be correct. So let's look at a second example. So in this one, we have 1 75/100ths. And again, my 1 is my whole number, and my 75 will be my numerator, which will be over 100. So for this fraction, you can decide to convert this into an improper fraction in two ways, and I will show you both ways. So you can decide to first reduce your fraction of 75/100ths by dividing this by 25, since 25 can divide into both our numerator and our denominator. And once it is simplified, 25 divided by 75, or divided into 75, will give us 3, and 25 into 100 is 4. And now we're going to go through our steps to convert this fraction into an improper fraction, where our 4 will be multiplied to 1 and then added to 3, all over the same denominator of 4. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. So we have 7/4. So another way that you could have also converted this fraction was to just reduce your fraction afterward, I would say. So for some persons, reducing it before may be okay. For some persons, then reducing it afterwards would be better. So whatever one is best for you, remember that you work at your own pace. So we're going to change it straight into a mixed fraction, where 100 will be multiplied to 1 and then added to 75, all over our denominator of 100. So we have 100 times 1 is 100. And then 100 added to 75 will equal to 175/100ths. And now at this point, you can choose to reduce your fraction, which is quite fine. So you can reduce at this point, or as I said before, you can reduce afterwards, whichever one works best for you. And again, with both of these numbers, we can divide by 25. So 175 divided by 25 is 7. And 100 divided by 25 is 4. Okay, so you can see that in both steps we worked it out differently, but we still arrived at the same answer. And again, you can check your answer by dividing 4 into 7. 4 goes into 7 once. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. And again, with our answer, 1 is my whole number, 3 is my numerator, and 4 is my denominator. Now, I know you may be looking and saying we didn't get that first fraction that we started off with, which is our 1 75 hundredths. But remember that 3/4 is an equivalent fraction to 75 100ths. So although the numbers aren't the same, their value is exactly the same thing. So let's look at our final example for this session. So we have 6 and 42 hundredths. So my 6 will be my whole number, and my 42 over 100 would be my 42 hundredths. And again, we can decide to reduce first, or we can reduce afterwards, whichever one is best for you. Remember, we will still arrive at the same answer. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to straight interchange this into my improper fraction, and then all reducing will be done afterwards. So 100 times 6 is 600. 600 added to 42 will equal to 642 100ths. Okay, so now that you have simplified your fraction, you can now go that extra step and now begin to reduce your fraction. So the number that I can divide both of these numbers by will be 2. So 642 divided by 2 will equal to 321, and 100 divided by 2 will equal to 50. And this fraction is in its simplest form, which means we can't reduce it any further. Okay, so I hope that this video was really helpful to you. And remember that for fractions that can be simplified, remember that you can decide to simplify the fraction first and then change it to an improper fraction, or you can dive straight into changing it into an improper fraction and then reducing your fraction afterwards. Okay, so make sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and remember that this is Jules Math Tools, where we make math easy.